Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Blackened Catfish with tomato pan sauce. Well, today we're whipping up a really simple seared fish recipe that you could do any night of the week, but it's also good enough that you may be celebrating Mardi Gras with this one because it's got a bit of Cajun influence to it. We're gonna take some catfish, coat it with our blackening seasoning, and totally sear it over cast iron. And we're gonna use that same pan to cook up a tomato sauce that's got some great herby flavors, a little bit of heat to it. Bring it all together on a bed of orzo pasta. Let's jump right in. So we're gonna start by seasoning up our catfish fillets. These are just skin off catfish fillets that we're gonna brush with a little bit of butter. Now the butter's gonna do a couple of things for us here. First of all, it's gonna act as a binder so that we can season this first with a little bit of black garlic infused salt, and then with our blackening seasoning. It's really cold out today, so I'm gonna do these one by one. Otherwise, I'd just go in a row and get them all brushed. Now, the other thing that the butter does for us, it actually browns when we sear this on the cast iron and adds to that blackening effect as the butter is browning along with our seasonings. So you get these great flavors from our blackening seasoning. Today we're using the Cattleman's blackening. And those seasonings are, there's a lot of smoked paprika in here, a little bit of salt, garlic, and then some Cajun herbs and spices like marjoram, oregano. Not a super heavy on the salt kind of rub, so that's why we're adding just a little bit of this black garlic salt as well. So once that rub's kind of set up a bit on the surface, we'll flip these over and do the other side. Now we'll set these catfish fillets aside while we prep the ingredients for our tomato pan sauce. Now for the tomato sauce, we're gonna start with a pint of cherry tomatoes, and I wanna get these halved, so I'm gonna show you a little trick I like to use to make this as quick as possible. We're gonna set these up in between two deli lids, give a little press, and just go straight through them. We've got halved cherry tomatoes as quick and easy as possible. Next, we're gonna mince up some shallots. You could also use red onions in this case if you like. We're gonna use the shallots and do about a quarter cup of these all minced up. Next, we've got a couple cloves of garlic. These we're going to slice today. We want them to have a little bit more texture and presence in this sauce, so just thin sliced. Now the last bit of our knife work here, we're gonna mince up some fresh oregano, looking for about 1 teaspoon. Today we're cooking on the Yoder Smoker's YS640S pellet grill. We're burning hickory pellets at 500 degrees. Now we're set up for direct grilling, and I've got our Lodge casserole dish that's preheating inside the grill. This is where we're gonna do our cooking. Now the cast iron's been coming up to temp with the grill. At this point I'm gonna slide it directly over the flame. We're gonna let it sit there for about 5 minutes and get just smoking hot. So now with the cast iron smoking hot, we're gonna put down a couple tablespoons of our chili infused oil and immediately wanna lay down our catfish fillets. Now, these have been on for about 5 minutes, just cooking with the lid open. We're trying not to take the internal too high before we get some nice color like that texture, that color on the surface. So we're looking to bring these fillets up to about 145 internal temperature. We're getting really close. So at this point, what I want to do is I'm just going to transfer these over to the foil. And really quickly, we're going to build this pan sauce with our tomatoes. Now we want all that goodness that's in the pan. We're gonna use the oil that's already in there. We'll add our tomatoes and garlic, as well as our shallots. Get all that fond off the pan. There's tons of flavor in that. So let's close the lid up here. We'll let this cook away for a minute. So now we've got these to where the tomatoes are kind of softened. Seeing the same thing with our shallots in there, turning translucent. I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of capers, our fresh oregano, and then we've got a couple tablespoons of white wine vinegar. give it some extra tang. Man, that smell. That vinegar is just gonna make everything pop. We're just looking to warm those things through. They really don't need to cook. So this sauce is essentially cooked as much as we need it to be. Let's take it off and finish it. Now I want this sauce to have some texture, but I also want it to be almost kind of creamy. So what I'm doing is taking out a spoonful of our tomatoes, and the rest of this stuff's gonna go into this cup, and we're gonna hit it with the immersion blender until it's just completely pureed. So we're essentially gonna make a vinaigrette. I'm gonna add a little bit of my favorite hot sauce here, a little bit of oil that's gonna emulsify with that vinegar and liquid that's in there already. So now that's totally smooth. We can bring it right down here to our tomatoes that we've reserved. And now we've got this great mixture, this creamy mixture, a tomato pan sauce with a little bit of texture from those tomatoes that we left out of the puree. Let's have a taste. Yeah, it's pretty spot on. We didn't add any salt during that process, but the seasoning from that catfish was already in the pan, and it's given us all the salt we need. So we're gonna plate this up here with some mixed greens, spinach, kale. I'm gonna add that in with our already cooked orzo pasta. We'll just kind of distribute that evenly. I want a little bit of this sauce on the bottom to mix into that orzo. Catfish fillet on top. A little bit more sauce on top. There we have it. Blackened catfish with tomato pan sauce. All right, I'm gonna finish it with a little squeeze of lemon juice here, and we'll get a taste. First thing I know is the crunch on the catfish. Almost a little bit pan fried around the edges. Great texture, awesome flavor too. You're getting all of those kind of Cajun influenced flavors. And then the second thing I notice is that sauce. The oregano pops. It's got just the right amount of tang and a great tomato base, but a nice brininess, saltiness to it too, probably coming from those capers. It's all really nice. And honestly, a fairly light, really easy kind of meal that you can make any night of the week, and it's gonna satisfy you. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.